Hi, this is Phyllis Jenkins, and I've chosen not to have an interview today, but just to share with you and honor a person who has touched my life in so many ways. I've learned so many lessons from this particular individual, and now I want to honor him as he is actually transitioning to his heavenly home, and that is none other than Dan Miller. I met Dan Miller May of 2021 when I joined his 48 Days Eagles community. Dan is the author of 48 Days to the Work You Love and to the Life You Love. And this book is a New York Times bestseller. It was forwarded by his friend Dave Ramsey. Whew, excuse me. I am not going to edit this recording. So if I stumble, I stumble. That's part of of being human. So just know that it will not be edited. You're saying this, you're getting this raw. With that said, Dan Miller shared with us several weeks ago that he had been diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Dan has taught us over the years to always ask in an unfavorable situation, what does this make possible? The question, what does this make possible? So I want to pause for a moment and just ask you, what are you facing right now that's unfavorable? What unwelcoming circumstance are you in right now that you wish that you were not in? I want to challenge you to answer the question, what does this make possible? You see, Dan Miller shared with us his diagnosis, and what this made possible for him was for his family to be able to walk him home. And those are the terms that they used. He has been able to receive our messages. God gave him time for us to share with him what he has meant in each of our lives. God gave Dan time, and he sees this as a gift. These are his words. He felt that God gave him a gift to be able to say his goodbyes to his family and friends. God gave him the gift to be able to say goodbye. So he answered that question, what does this make possible? In that many people, when they're leaving this earth, many people don't have an opportunity to say goodbye. Many people, those who are in a car wreck or instantly killed, don't have this time. So Dan actually see this time as God given him a gift to be able to live his last days here on earth with the ones he loved, with those who he has impacted the life. I will tell you, I met Dan Miller in person a couple of years ago. He did a tour in different states, and he called it Food for Thought. He took applications because many people wanted to attend, of course. He took applications, and my husband Dave and I were chosen to attend the Food for Thought here in Dallas. with 12 other, well, there was a total of 12 entrepreneurs, so 11 other entrepreneurs. I got an opportunity to meet Dan, his wife Joanne, and their son Kevin, with some more amazing entrepreneurs. That particular day, we went around the table before our meal, and Dan asked us the question, if we were to meet again 3 years from now, which would be next year, just so that you'll have a reference. If we were to meet 3 years from now, what would have to have happened for you to say that it was success? What would have had to happen over the period of 3 years for you to say that it's been a successful 3 years? What struck me as we all shared our answers is Dan showed true leadership that day in that he answered the question as well. He shared his goals with us. So did his wife, Joanne, and so did Kevin. True leadership there. We took a group picture together, which I'll put in the show notes below so that you can see. But I have learned so much from Dan. Another lesson that I've learned is every year, Dan gave us a 30-day challenge to have our goals for the following year completed 48 days before the new year, which is November 14th. So every November 14th, I have my goals completed for the following year. I learned that from Dan. Dan also challenged us with listening to Earl Nightingale's The Strangest Secret. And then we would meet and share our lessons learned from that. So we listened to The Strangest Secret 30 days straight. And we would come together and answer different questions about what we had learned from that. Dan also taught me how to have meaningful relationships with others. And so this year, I am making sure that I continue to have meaningful relationships, connecting with people, and just to see how can I help you with what you're doing, building meaningful relationships. So I'm not going to stay on. I just felt the need to come on and honor such a man who has made a difference in many, many lives, not just mine, but many, many lives. And as I am speaking, Dan is in his last days here on earth, but his family have walked him home well. And I just want to close with a poem that Dan's wife, Joanne, wrote. And before I read the poem, I just want to say, what legacy are you leaving? Dan has left such a legacy in the 48 Days community and with everyone that he has been in touch with as far as his mastermind groups, his classes. We have all learned so much from him. And Dan has taught me how to live well. And now he is showing me how to transition well from earth to heaven. So I am going to get the poem and I will close with reading the poem written by his wife, Joanne. I know that you will be blessed by it as much as I've been. The title of the poem, written by Joanne Miller, and Joanne wrote this on December 22nd, 2023. And she wrote this during a time that her husband, Dan, was in his journey of transitioning. The title of the poem is In the End. In the End, E-N-D. All the petty arguments, the efforts to prove a point, the angry words and the pouting count for little in the end. All the struggles endured, the pain, the hurt, the need to be right count for little in the end. All the selfish acts, the self-centered desires, the heated debates. In the end, what counts forever is the need to be loved, cherished, appreciated, respected. In the end, what counts forever is the legacy you leave, the footprints you make that changes the world one little bit better since your birth. I love this. Again, this is in honor of a man who has changed my life, a man whose lessons that I've learned for my personal life as well as my business will forever be a part of my life and my business. And the footprints he made have definitely changed the world and made it a little bit better since his birth. Thank you for watching. To the Dan Miller family, we love you. Our prayers are with you. God's blessings.